Hello, wherever you are in the world. My name is Viola Edward. I am the WEDO Cyprus ambassador with Janice Raffle. We co-lead this work for Cyprus, and also I am the CEO and co-founder of Grid Academy and Guyana Consulting. It is my pleasure to be with you today to celebrate in the representation of Women Entrepreneurship Day organization celebrating women. Our voices as women have been heard and more will be. We are influencing different corners of the globe in all areas of life. And this is because women before us did amazing, smart, and hard work. And we will be always thankful to them. Today, we are celebrating women of all walks of life, and here with me included, I want to acknowledge and celebrate some of these women leaders who created national and international organizations to keep the support for women worldwide, for women and their families. It is my pleasure to start this event with introducing my dear friend, Caroline Fatale. Caroline.
Hi, hello, Viola.
Thank you so much for opening a space for us here. أهلا وسهلا, Caroline. Caroline is from Lebanon, and Caroline is the founder of Stand for Women. Welcome. And then I will be calling dearest Annika Tornerit.
Hello.
We met a short time ago, but we just smile when we hear each other's name. She is the external training at the European Parliament and ambassador for Europe for the WEDO. My dearest friend, African sister Lolo Madiketia, who is representing Women Entrepreneurship Day organization in Southern Africa. And soon will be with us Delia Flores. She's the founder of HEMA, and she's an honorary WEDO committee from Argentina. And of course, she will come a little bit later, and we have the pleasure and the honor to celebrate with Wendy Diamond, who is the founder and CEO of WEDO. Thank you all very much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting us, Viola.
For having us.
Yes. So let's take a deep breath to start. And we do that to celebrate that we still breathing, we are alive. And while we still breathing and alive, we have infinite possibility to keep serving in the best way possible to all women around the world, so their voices can be heard as ours for now are heard. I will start my question to Annika. Annika, how do you perceive female leadership, and how do you manage to interconnect this concept through all the network that you've been connected with?
That's a big question. I think that for a woman to be impactful and move forward in her career in leadership, first and foremost, she needs to be confident. She needs to have the courage to ask for it, say what she wants. What's her name? Can I say Dr. Okunyu Iweala? Am I saying it right? The newly appointed first African and female Director General of the World Trade Organization. She said, I am the woman for the job. And so to have that confidence and say what you can do and ask for it in your leadership career is going to help a lot. I think that a lot of women could, with more confidence, go so much further.
Yes, indeed. And for that, yes, indeed. And for that, we are creating all these programs to empower and enable women around the world. I have my dear friend Sandra Ontiveros, that she's a specialist in a program called you are outstanding. You are remarkable. And she's been doing that program because she's trained in Google, because they find out that there is millions of dollars that is lost every year in the global corporate world because women don't apply for jobs if she doesn't feel that she's 98.8% fulfilling all the requirements. Therefore, somebody else will apply, and then later she will feel minimized because somebody who's not as capable as she is having that place, and then she will leave that job, and that create a huge loss in the companies. And for that, they created this program. And I want to remind you all that you are remarkable. We are remarkable. Let's learn more about being self-confident about many things. We always get a little bit nervous. I'm on stage almost every day, but you see, at the beginning, I was a little bit nervous because I have all these friends from around the world in a celebration like this. So it doesn't matter. We can own it. This is our vulnerability, and this is the way how we do. Thank you so much for your answer, Anika. And I welcome Delia. Bienvenida. Delia is with us from Argentina. So this next question is for Lolo. Do you have an opinion? What is your opinion at this stage on gender equality, and how it is impacting life in different patterns and in different way? I know you have a great opinion about that, but in your area of the world, how that is impacting?
Thank you so much, Viola. Firstly, for the invitation and for your question. And it's important that you understand that gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. And gender equality is a key element of regional integration, economic growth, and social development. It's very important that the gender equality agenda is prioritized not only in the southern part of the Africa continent, which I oversee, but throughout the continent as a priority across all stakeholder levels. So for me, that's very, very important. And I like what Anika said about confidence and the importance that be a starting point, the confidence to show up, as just as simple as that. There's an African proverb that goes, until the lion has his or her own storyteller, it is the story of the hunter that will go known. So it's important that we claim our narrative, own our story, and tell those stories. But for me, it's beyond just being able to tell those stories and be the orators of the stories about women and just great work. It's about us as women being the very stories. And that's where WEDO comes in so incredibly. I've seen ambassadors across the Africa continent and globally really highlight stories of women across socioeconomic levels, across diverse industries, highlight what's going on, highlight the challenges that are being faced, the solutions that are being brought about. And it's when we approach solutions or creating of solutions with a gender equality lens that we can really, really be talking about transformation.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I think Delia has some problem with the connection. She will be back to us. I come back. Okay, Delia is back. Shall we? Hello, Delia. Okay, Paulo, Delia is back. Caroline, you are the founder of Stand for Women. Tell us about this organization.
So I'm talking to you from Beirut, Lebanon. I have founded the NGO Stand for Women back in 2017 because in many instances in my career, I had felt that gender inequalities were thriving in the Middle East. And I felt that as a businesswoman, I had a voice to tell the story and to help other women grow the ladder. I was lucky enough to have And also, I think this is something that women face. We say we are lucky, but I worked hard for it, to grow the ladder in multinational organizations, in my family business. And a lady called Penina Thompson opened my eyes to, she wrote a book called A Woman's Places in the Boardroom. And she opened my eyes to what Lolo and Anika just said, that having women in the corporate world at all the echelons is not only a social thing, but it's or social and human rights, etc. It's also makes economic sense. That when women are in the corporate ladder in all the different hierarchy, it increases the performance of companies, their return on investment, return on capital, etc. So Stand for Women was initially to raise awareness around in the Middle East around all the issues surrounding gender inequalities, and it was for women's economic empowerment. And another of my pillars is championing sisterhood, because I heard along my career too much talk about women stabbing each other in the back and being not supportive to each other. And I felt this was not a talk that was at all resonating with me. I really felt that women can be sisters and can help each other. So this is how we started, with awareness on social media, on our account, I Stand for Women, on Instagram, etc. I had then programs for women leadership in academia. But on August 4, with the Beirut explosion, everything changed for us. I thought, Caroline, you cannot stay only in social media or academia. You really have to go for social action on the ground. So that's when we created a fund, the Marian Fund, honoring the legacy of my aunt, who unfortunately passed away in the Beirut explosion. And I said, how can I honor her legacy and at the same time help women who have small and medium-sized businesses affected by the Beirut explosion? How can we help them thrive and survive after such a horrific event? And thanks to UN Women, we sent a search for data. We had 100 women answering our search. And today, through walking in the streets of Beirut and referrals from other NGO, we have a database of 240 women that have been affected by the explosion. And we have been able, through private funds, donors, donations, etc., to help 109 women. So we're talking micro businesses and small and medium-sized businesses. Thank you, Anika. And we're talking very vulnerable women, as well as women who employ people, as well as women who keep a certain cultural heritage of Beirut. So that's a little bit what Stand for Women stands for.
Yes, thank you. And I'm a follower, and I'm there in following you and supporting you as much as I can. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted you to be here, because you are doing great, fantastic work. Anika, so how do you perceive that European women leaders should prepare more themselves to promote greater participation of women in different areas of life, business, professional, art, academia, politics, science, etc., education?
I didn't hear the first words. It was breaking up. I heard all the end, but what did you say the very first words?
What is your perception that European women leaders can do? How can they prepare themselves and others so they can have more presence in more areas of society?
I get triggered, and I will tell you why. Because so I'm going to be very personal. So working hard, you have a schedule, you have to deliver, you have to prepare your presentations, and then a lot of women are also mothers. So it means you have so much extra pressure that is not something that you can just say, I'll do it another day. I'll do it on Monday. You have to do it every day. And so I said I was going to be personal. After this, before coming on, I had to reach out to Viola and say, when do we end? Because I have to be a taxi driver mom and take one kid to basketball and then pick up the other one at the other side of the city and then drive back to pick up from basketball. And on the way home, I promised them sushi. So that's that's nothing. Why do you even mention it? Well, because so many women have to fit that in. And I think a lot about how could you if you really want to get ahead in your career or your leadership, or you want to create something, well, you need time. You need so much time. Look at all the men in the history books. They had someone, either their wife or a woman or a servant, who would come and serve them breakfast, lunch, and they would do the dishes and take care of everything around whatever life requires from you in order to live. We're supposed to not complain about it, not mention it, and not make a thing about it, but just do it. And we do it. And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that time is essential if you're going to make something big, something monumental. If you're going to reach a higher level, you're going to need time to invest. So if I make my answer an advice, I would say, as early as possible in life, as young as possible, even if that's 60 or 12, make time to do your own research. Find out what opportunities there are. Find out what kind of education there is in the scope of what you're interested in. Find out what collaboration partners you could have. Go for building a network. Things that are out of the scope of what you learn in school, of what happens in your first job. I would say, yes, make the time to invest in your own growth, because no one else is going to do it for you. And everyone is going to expect you to just do everything that women always did. And you're going to do that as well. So I say, be super intentional in making sure that you take time for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Annika. And Lolo, so what will be the biggest challenge that women from your continent face as entrepreneurs, as businesswomen, as leaders?
Thank you, Viola. I'm going to flip that a little bit in your question around the challenges that exist. But I want to start with opportunities. I think it's very important that as leaders, much as there are glaring challenges before us, it's our responsibility to find opportunities within those challenges. So I'm just going to just touch on a few glaring opportunities that are presenting themselves amidst the different challenges. And firstly, I'm just going to start with what we are all very excited about and looking forward to, which is the launch of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, which basically promises that now we're going to be seeing increased trade within the continent. We're looking at tapping into 1.2 billion with a GDP of about 2.5 trillion US dollars. So just to touch on what Annika was saying, when you know such information, you know what the opportunity is. Now you want to dig deeper and find out, okay, if that is what is possible, what role do I play? What door do I open for the next person? And we're expecting by 2035 about 450 billion US dollars worth of income to be added to the continent. That alone is just a simple baseline to say what is possible. Now, still on that, you want to encourage that funding and investing for scale in African women-led startups and enterprises, cooperatives, whatever structure we want to venture into, that becomes a priority. That policies allow for that to take place, that women-led enterprises get the necessary funding for scale, for optimal impact. Well, obviously, what we want is to see also increased access to decision-making spaces, for policy formulation, more women in leadership spaces, in boardrooms. But the important thing is, once you are in that boardroom, who gets to benefit? Once you are in that boardroom, in that key decision-making room, yes, you have a seat at the table, but is your voice being heard with that seat at the table? Where is the ripple effect? which communities get to benefit from you having been in the room and having access to where opportunities are lying. And then something else that I believe is very, very important as we talk about women is the issue of gender-based violence. Intersectionality is a term coined by Kimberly Crenshaw, and it really talks about violence, but also violence towards women who happen to be Black, but this can apply in any context really. And for me, it's important that you understand the impact of the rise of the gender-based violence having been seen more during 2020 with lockdowns and so forth. But it was just an eye opener to what has been happening. How as women are we then treating this in workplaces when somebody who works for us or who we work for comes to work having been beaten the following day? What's our role there? So for me, it's really about taking leadership spaces, even be as a leader without a title, do something about it, but know what the avenues are. So for me, it's being involved at those levels, but also understanding where the world is going, understanding where the opportunities are lying, understanding right now, for instance, in the Africa continent, in the Southern Africa region, agribusiness is skyrocketing, and now we need to understand how to ensure that women have access to funding that is specially created for women to be taking spaces in agribusiness, in resource focused spaces. But also, speaking of resource spaces, it's important that spaces like tech, emerging technology with the fourth industrial revolution, women are able to play a key role in tapping into that as tools, but tools to address grassroots issues that we are seeing in villages, in very blatant poverty that is glaring at us. Is to say, okay, now that we have access to these tools, how do we ensure that we are solving problems, we are being disruptive, we are entering spaces, and we are making a meaningful change as women for women?
Thank you, Lola. That was a beautiful answer and certainly very nice way how you put it. Welcome, Wendy. Welcome.
Welcome. Woo-hoo! Nice to see everyone.
Hi, Wendy.
So here she is. It's a pleasure to have you here. I know how busy is your agenda these days.
Woo-hoo!
So Wendy, welcome here, where we were celebrating all the women that have been before us, creating a space for us to be today where we are. We are always thankful to our ancestors. They work so hard and so smart, so we are here today. And then celebrating women and celebrating new leaders around the world that you have created networks, foundation, organization, so women can rise and can be treated as they should in their human right. So welcome, Wendy. And I would like to ask you if you can tell us briefly, how is it that you get motivated, inspired to create this beautiful organization that we are in today? The Women Entrepreneurship Day organization.
Well, it's funny because, my background is I come from a little town in Ohio, country bumpkin, 2,500 people, little town. And so, when I was growing up, when I realized, I was in a small little community, right? I didn't know there was a whole other world out there. And I think what we have to do is embrace life, and every opportunity that comes to us, everything that we have experienced takes us to the next level. And we have to look at our lives as everything we go through is a positive to get us there, right? And so I ended up going to school in Boston, where it opened up my whole life, where I had a roommate that, was from Indonesia, and I dated someone from Istanbul, Turkey, and that opened up my entire life. And I realized, my God, that what is so important in our lives is every opportunity, you know what I mean? That we can see the world and be the world. And that spun me off to living in Turkey after college, and then going to Russia, then coming to America. And what I realized you know, you could take a girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. And that's what I really believe, that we could create a global movement to embrace the world, because I believe everybody can give back, and everybody in the world wants to help, but we just really have to make it easy for them. So when I ended up in Honduras on vacation in 2013, I didn't really, you know, I ended up like going on vacation, but then I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's the murder capital of the world. And that's when I decided to volunteer for an organization that gives microloans to poor women. And I knew, you know, Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel Peace Prize winner who created Grameen, but, you know, I never knew the impact, because unless I see it and I feel it, I don't know what it's like. So I ended up, you know, volunteering for Adelante, which provides microloans to poor women. And I spent about 3 days on a dirt floor, like meeting all these women that received these $100 microloans. And, you know, one woman who I'll never get out of my head, was 72 years old, and she had 3 little kids. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you have these 3 little kids? And she said, you know, that, you know, her daughter passed away, the husband ran off, and she was responsible for her grandchildren. And so she received a microloan from Adelante of $100, and was able to get Cokes and toothpaste and open up a window in her 1-room hut with dirt floors, and able to sell those with pride and with dignity. And she was able to make enough money to pay $1 a month for those kids to go to school, right? And what you saw from each one of those people that received those microloans, that they were, you know, that they had, you know, self-confidence, they had dignity, and they were empowered in business, that they could afford their lives. And that, what I realized, like, my God, that day I was like, wow, you know, with my background in with animal rescue and realizing, you know, about the importance of adopting versus buying dogs, and my background creating Animal Fair, the movement that brought animal rescue to the forefront of media in America and bringing celebrities and pop culture, I thought, my God, if we could bring the world together to realize the importance from a ground up approach, because change happens from the ground up, not from the top down, right? So if we can engage the world to realize the importance of empowering women in business, to celebrate, to support, and empower women, we could change the world. So that's when in 2013, I came back, I started doing the research. Nobody was talking about women entrepreneurs or women in business. Literally, it was very little stuff out there, right? UN Women did not even recognize entrepreneurship or business at the time. And that's when I said, my gosh, I said, if we could create a simplified movement, and let's create a day in the world, because if we create a day, people are going to start talking about that day, right? And so that's when I went to our governor in New York State, and I went to our Mayor de Blasio, I went to US Congress, and I said, let's proclaim November 19th as Women's Entrepreneurship Day, to celebrate, empower, and support women. So I officially got the day proclaimed. Then I went to the United Nations and I said, let's launch this on this day. And that's when I went around the world and I said to everybody I knew, who in your country is the greatest person to represent our movement, to bring governments, business leaders, civil society together, to collaborate, to find solutions to uplift women in business. Because I knew there would be people that were just really excited and had empathy and would want to support a movement, a volunteer movement, by the way. I'm a volunteer too. And, you know, a volunteer movement to do this. And that's when we went around the world. We found all these amazing women. That's how we're in 144 countries. And that's how we created Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization. And, you know, as you know, this year, you know, we had Google for Startups joined our movement. We had NASDAQ join our movement. You know, the world is recognizing this. Remember, International Women's Day, which we just celebrated, woohoo! You know, this was started like 80 years ago, and now everybody knows about it, right? But look at what we have done as an organization, you know, since 2013. So what is that? So in 8 years that we have created this movement that everyone now really, the most important and biggest companies in the world recognize. So I think that, you know, again, creating simplified movements and initiatives that really engage everyone is the key to success.
And you can see how all of us, we get so inspired to join this movement. And I remember when my dearest Janice Ruffle told me about it, and my friend Marianne, I said, I'm in. Of course I'm in. So here we are. I am in Cyprus. Caroline is in Lebanon. Annika is in Europe, and Africa, Lolo, and US, Wendy. joining forces together. And Delia will be with us again. She has some technical problem from Argentina. Joining forces to honor you all women around the world for all what you do and for your existence. I want to tell you a small story here. Recently, last year, I get in connection with a network called Mujer Ideal, Ideal Women. And at the beginning, I said, again, we have to be ideal. Remember, I'm from Venezuela, all the cult for beauty and being forever young. And when they introduced me to the organization, and it was founded by a man, he told me, no, Viola, please don't misunderstand me. I name it Ideal Women because women are ideal. My mom is ideal. My sister is ideal. Women have to do nothing. You are already ideal. This is the way why I give that name to this organization. And I think this is so true because we really need to trade perfection by excellence. Because how I was telling you before, so many women don't apply to their well-deserved jobs and opportunity because they don't feel perfect, and that is causing the nations and causing the woman a lot of pain and causing the corporate work a lot of money. So we are ideal where we are. We every day we are the best version of ourselves, and maybe in 3 days we will be even better. So as a psychotherapist, I can tell you it's something very cruel to judge yourself with your eyes of today in something you did yesterday or 3 years ago, because this is really cruel. Don't do it to yourself and don't allow anybody to do it to you. So I'm going to pass to Caroline again. Caroline is us from Lebanon, and you're the founder of Stand for Women. And you told us why did you create it and how did you create the institution and how now you created the Marian Foundation after the 4th of August last year when in Lebanon was that devastating explosion. We have another of those in Guinea now. Huh? But anyway, so you were telling us about you're helping 240 women to recover their businesses, and already 109 had received this microfund. I'm bringing the microfund because I know this is something dear to Wendy's heart, how we can create funds in a different way to be able from little to bigger to help women around the world. So tell me now, in this situation that Lebanon is going through, what is the challenge and therefore opportunities that Lebanese women are facing?
Thank you, Viola. Before answering your question, I will just say how much what Annika, Lolo, and Wendy said really resonates with me. And every word that Annika said about time, the difficulty of time management for women today, I have witnessed it even yesterday giving a workshop to women who were saying that they feel taken right, left, and center with COVID and the economic pressures and everything, and they were really on the verge of a breakdown. So this is really true even for women in the Middle East. Lolo, what you said about the opportunities for women in Africa, what needs to change, I would have said the same words word by word in the Middle East, and I say, my God, so women all over the world, they are facing the same issues. I could have said word by word what you said, Lolo, for women in the Middle East, really. And Wendy, what you said about microfinance for women also echoed so much in my heart, because with Stand for Women after Beirut explosion, we're trying to give funds for women to be able to restart their businesses, because what happened after the explosion is that most NGOs were giving to women food boxes, or for the population food boxes, and we're trying to repair the homes. But I thought if we don't give them business back again, we cannot be a country that will live on food boxes and food aids for the rest of our lives. We have to help people be in business, exactly like the woman example that you mentioned in Adelante. And so, and as a businesswoman myself, I felt now it's time for you to share your know-how. So Viola, initially we helped the women in reconstruction, core and shell. Windows were blasted, there were no doors, no walls anymore. And then we realized that and then equipment and stocks, etc. But then we realized also that they needed sometimes capability building. You know, they had to change their business, reinvent themselves. Maybe the business they had before the explosion wouldn't serve in this area anymore now. So we gave also coaching and mentoring. And as well today, unfortunately, the problem that we're seeing is mental health issues. Lebanon has gone through the COVID crisis, to an economic collapse, through the explosion. And so women today, 6 months after the explosion, are really in a mental health situation that is quite dire. And so we're also now creating support groups through drama therapy or different techniques of EMDR, etc., for women to be able to overcome these mental health issues. And gender-based violence, by the way, Lolo, has increased dramatically in Lebanon as well, because many men are unemployed or have been, in difficult situations. So we face the same problems as all over the world. And at the same time, it terrifies me. And at the same time, we say there is a lot of opportunities, because I like the positivity of Lolo when she says, okay, let's look at the opportunities. So, many people have said that they don't believe in Lebanon anymore. A lot of people wanting to leave. The youth is, a little bit quite desperate. But I believe that even in the worst nightmares, there is hope. And I strongly believe that hope can come from women. So also here, because of course we have a very bad representation of women in the political arena. Very bad representation. It's maybe 7%, 4% of women in board of directors. So all the numbers are catastrophic and really have to increase. And for me, the salvation is through women.
And I'd like to say Lebanon is one of my favorite places in the entire world. My favorite food. Woohoo! And just note, out of all the world, only 20 nationalities are recognized around the world with food, and Lebanon is one of them. And
thank you.
As our movement with Women's Entrepreneurship Day, we, really truly had one of the most beautiful people who is now transitioning as being our ambassador there. So I'd love to ask you to, talk to Viola about our movement, but that created one of the most incredible companies and for, children, childcare.
Yes, so, I know Lamis very well. And I know, I know. And I know the WEDO through her.
Yeah, so I think that, literally the women in Lebanon are very impressive, and I'm sure they're going to be able to come out of this even stronger.
Hopefully, yes.
Thank you. Merci كتير, as Lebanese people we say. Merci كتير. So I don't know if you know, Wendy, my mom is Lebanese, and I lived 8 years in Lebanon, and I speak Arabic with Lebanese accent.
Well, well, first off, I want to say is that, a lot of people, and that's one of the things, that I just embrace about life, and why I think that, I love our movement is because we're in some of the smallest countries and some of the most developing countries in the world, and it's about how do we really work with everybody, because you're dealing with so many different, nationalities and the way people work and see and so forth. And so I think, going back to like Lebanon and what happened is it's really like you look at, how do you, because this is really about like, how do you help from the ground up, because that is really where you're at, right? On that. About one of the greatest places I've ever visited in my life is Baalbek. And I have to say, it's truly, one of my favorite places. And Lolo, I want to say that this is not fair, because when Lolo comes on to, one of our, meetings, I think she needs to let us all know what lipstick we should wear.
Well, do you see? This is the way how we relate. We're talking about very excellent. We're talking about very serious thing, and I have a friend from Spain who tell me from the most celestial thing we go to the more earthy thing, and this is the way how we women managed for so many years to live longer and to have less illnesses. And this is something that we are losing because of the drama of mental health and how that is affecting our physical health. So I want to have a break here to tell you that during COVID, me and my sister, we team and we created a program called GRIT Academy Program. GRIT coming from Growth, Resource, Inspire, and Transform. And we thought how we're gonna manage to put almost 30 years, both of us, of psychotherapeutical deep experience in some program that will be accessible, light, possible for everybody to catch and to be able to go through. And this is what we created, both of us. It took us a long time, but we launched it. It survived during COVID. And Caroline, I have some program for Lebanon, of course, for free for your people, for all these women that you're helping. And it's a program of 7 days, 7 weeks, 2 hours a week, which is the basic program to become a great star. To become a great star in which way? To become the star of our lives. because once we are the star of our life, we can shine from inside out to wherever we go. And this is what happened to me. I'm migrant many times in my life, and we get ups and downs. And because I was raised by this amazing Lebanese mother, that she would say with a song, let's sing, and tomorrow we'll solve it. Let's sing, let's put some music, let's talk, let's cook. And I would come home and I would see she's cooking like that. And we're three. She's a widow and she has only two daughters, me and my sister. And I would say, Mom, we are only three. She said, you never know who has less than us and will need to have a plate of food. So this is how we grow up, and this is how we learn how to share. Me and my sister, we share almost everything, you know. So the idea is how to pass that legacy to other people. And I know, Annika, you're doing amazing work being having all this training, external training for the Parliament, for the European Parliament. And I know you and me, we talk shortly, but I know how much we're going to be focusing in not only more intellectual and educational thing. We are filled with that. It's more training about how to deal with anxiety, how to deal with being belittled, how to deal with bullying, how to deal with our own self-sabotage, because this is the one thing that women face daily, that these think, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to make it, and I can't have it all. So how we can transform that to I'm more than good enough, of course I'm going to make it. You know, if Viola make it, and she's almost 62, my birthday is day after tomorrow, she's 62, and she speaks none of her languages well, but here she is talking publicly, of course I can do it. And this is why I talk about my situation in mental health and how I get over addiction and how my school was interrupted and re-engaged, because I think we need modeling in the world that it's okay, whoever you are, you're excellent. So Annika, tell us about this training, and what do you think is the most needed nowadays in the world for women? Really, you already told us about what the women face, single mothers, taking care of their kids, taking care of the time of many of us, of their elderly people too. So what is it for us now? You said when you are young, search, find out. But now, here we are. We are here in this group, different ages. What is it for us now? This year, 2021, when we have voices, when many of us are leading, what can we do?
What a question you bring, Viola. This is like, okay, so I will give my answer. If for any woman, no matter what age, 12-year-old little girl with one foot into teenagehood, or 30s and perfect, or 40 and wondering why am I getting wrinkles on my knees, moving forward, I would say, and it goes hand in hand with what I said before about making time, having the courage to believe it's okay for me to make time for me to learn how to educate myself, the things I need to know. And I would top that out with the whole concept of self-doubt. Just walk away from it, divorce it, leave it, dump it. And how could one say then, how does one do that? Because whether in my work as a coach, I worked with teenagers, I worked with top executive women. And if there's one thing we all have in common, it's an incredible amount of self-doubt. For some, it shows up in the private area. For others, it shows up in the professional area. But for everyone I've met, it shows up somewhere. And so a concrete answer to how do you lower the level of self-doubt, I can share what worked for me personally. I used to be, how can I say it, all consumed. It was the only thing I was doubtful about, what I can do and where I could speak. And I got lucky because my personal life brought me to a complete breakdown, and that I had no other choice than to find a solution forward. Because the other option would be that it stopped there, and I wasn't ready because I had 3 little babies. So I decided I have to I have to fix this. I have to know who I am, because I literally had no clue. And I sat down and I worked through every word I could come up with that is a value that a person can have. And I came up with 86, and then I was like, I can't, this is not helping. So I got to 20, then I forced myself to get to 10. And long story short, I got to a point where I had 5 core values that I felt this. So this happened in the moment of that exercise, not more than an hour and a half, going from feeling awkward, a misfit, not fitting in anywhere, not being good enough at anything, to sitting and looking at these words. I get a lump in my throat now. And I felt for the first time in my life, sitting all by myself, nobody had given me a compliment. I had achieved nothing, performed nothing, produced nothing. I felt, this is me. I know who I am. And I think I'm pretty awesome. It was the first time in my life. So my values that I came to from working through everything I could possibly think of is authenticity, integrity, courage, family, and humor. And they're going to be different for everyone. But I sincerely advise you, if you don't already know your 5 core values, take some time and work on it. If you need an exercise, I will give it for free through Viola. But having the 5 core values has helped me in decision making, being comfortable in my own skin, being confident, courageous, moving forward, knowing what path to take, if it's this one or this one, because I knew what would make sense for me, what would be valuable for me. And when you do that, you will also bring more value to other people. So it's a win-win-win-win-win situation. I don't know if that answers the question, but
yes, very good. And I will add to this. Can you close your microphone? Yeah. So I will add to your exercise. I will add another exercise that please write 5 things that you love about yourself, that you like about yourself. Now you spent with us like 40 minutes. You already know some of our characteristics. Yeah, you already know what is the strengths of Lolo, what is my thing with connection and communication, each one of us. And this is what I'm gonna call resources. So for me, the resources, which are our natural quality, natural, later we can nurture them and they become big and we can use them as a talent. But our natural thing, this is our best currency. I can tell you, wherever I've been in the world, up or down, those are the currency. This is the credit card I always take with me, which is my communication, my generosity, my connectedness, and my curiosity. And ask, can I help? Can I help? Those are my resources. And still, this is what it is. And every day you can add one more, and then you see how precious you are. So I'm going to pass. Thank you, Annika, for your answer. And of course, not the values and defining the values, because we are, especially leaders, especially public figures, we are exposed to so many things. If you don't know what are your values, then you can sometimes hesitant about yourself and you can end in a place that you don't want to be there. So it's very important. How is it to have your values, to have your vision, and time to time review it with your peers or with some mentors about your purpose, your vision, and your values. And Lolo, tell me, for your area of Africa, you are representing 10 countries of Africa, Southern Africa. What is it? What is that one thing of leadership that you learn in your own life story? You learn it was a challenge, you converted in an opportunity. And what is the one thing that you share with other women around the world, especially in your area of the globe? Microphone.
Thank you so much, Viola.
Of course.
I believe sometimes rules are made only to be broken. So I'm gonna likely break a rule around one thing for me. It'll be because it'll be a couple of things that I would relate to how I view leadership and just the lessons learned. And I like what Annika just said, because purpose is so important. And once you know your purpose, you know your true values, you then know the value you bring to the table. And when you are out of character, it is only because you have a proper yardstick to work with. So for me, the first thing would be, God has placed us on earth to make a meaningful difference, to make meaningful change. And when you understand that you exist for a reason, when you understand that your existence could be saving somebody else's life or opening a door or an opportunity for somebody else, you approach life very much differently. And when you know that you matter, that people matter, and that when you strive towards building yourself as a leader, you are then able to lead other people. And as you approach situations, you don't come with an attitude or a dispensation of a deficit. You don't come questioning yourself. You come with assurance, humble assurance that there are challenges in front of you. And because you know the value you bring, you are able to contribute more positively and more impactfully. And something that is also very important is that they strength in unity, they strength in numbers, and cohesive efforts are so important. I've seen just the Africa continent in terms of the ambassadors. We have an amazing Pan-Africa global leader. Her name is Tatiana Madi, and she has been literally just streamlining efforts across the 4 regions that the continent has been split in. And the uniformity, the cohesion, the collectiveness, we are able to see meaningful and optimal impact after all our efforts, after our summits, after our interventions. And that for me is very, very important, not just at WEDO level, but at a personal level. Because when you understand the importance of the collective, you understand the importance of collaboration. When you understand the importance of collaboration, you align with a global perspective, such as the SDGs of just building strategic partnerships. Wendy has been integral in opening doors for partnerships for us in the continent as different ambassadors in the cities, in the provinces, at regional level. And that is what we want. Be a leader that's going to be beneficial to somebody else. Know that you are created to bring about meaningful change, and don't underscore or undervalue yourself from that perspective. And the collective is important, but also just networking and mentorship. Having the humility to be mentored by either by your peer or somebody who you look up to. And these can be intergenerational. It can be somebody who's older, who's mentoring you, who's been in the industry you want to enter. Even younger people are mentoring people in different age gaps, which is very, very, very important. So for me, it's that. Know that you matter. People matter. Networking, mentorship.
Thank you, Lolo.
You make a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. Caroline, I know that you need to leave very soon. You have another activity now. So Lolo, as you can imagine, we can hear you forever and ever. Let's see what happened with Wendy, that it get disconnected. So Caroline, your last message for this time for us, whatever you want to say for us, how we can support you, what else we can do, whatever. I know you're leaving, we will continue some more minutes, but please feel free to be able to go, but give us your message and tell us, how can we help you?
Well, first, the simplest way is already to follow us on I Stand for Women on Instagram and check what we're doing. And then if your heart drives you towards helping more, you can check the ways to donate, etc. You can see what we're doing. But what is important for me beyond that is to hear the echoes of women struggles and opportunities around the world, feel that we are all sisters. For me, sisterhood, and it's one of the pillars of Stand for Women, is so powerful. Sisterhood is global, and the power and the things we can achieve all together, like each one of you has said, Lolo, Annika, Wendy, and yourself, Viola, you're the pure example of that, by bringing us from all the continents tonight to discuss this. That would be my message. sisterhood is powerful, sisterhood is global, and together we can really make the difference for Lebanon, for the world, for every one of your countries and continents. So thank you, Viola. And by the way, I'm leaving because Stand for Women is organizing an I Am Remarkable workshop by Google for 23 Lebanese women at this point. And so that's why I'm jumping. So it's you started with it, and I'm jumping in this workshop. So,
yes.
so thank you.
We're gonna have that group also for WED very soon, hopefully, because one of my colleagues who gives it in Spanish, and then we'll find the English one. Thank you, Caroline. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Apologies for leaving.
Bye bye.
Bye. Shukran.
Bye bye. So she's doing amazing work. So yes, echoing your word, Lolo, the SDG number 17, togetherness and not leaving anybody behind. This is the point where I'm especially getting this more and more input and work, because for years I've been doing together is better, better together, caring alliances, let's ally to do better work. So yes, when these number 17 come, I said, yes, the word is with me, because it's not a work of one people, one organization, one country. So Wendy, back to you, my dear. So I know how engaged you are in all the micro loans and helping women who even cannot have access to the banking system. Do you want to tell us about these that you are so enchanted with, fascinated with, not as an ideal, but as a result? Because I know how many good results you have had. Do you want to tell us about this area of your work?
Well, so again, going back to Honduras, I started doing the data and the research and looking at like, wow, these women are paying these loans back at a 98% rate. That's huge, right? Men were in the 70% range. And that's when I realized like, wow, like the numbers show that 90% of that money they earn goes back to educating their children, providing for their families, which is uplifting the entire communities, right? And so, in 2013, also when I started doing the deep down research, I found that 1% of venture dollars supported women founders. I mean, 1%? You mean 99% goes to all the men? No. So that's why, this is what this whole foundation is about, and about collaboration, about everybody coming together to uplift women. And that is why I think it's so important, all these initiatives and everybody in the world, to bring together all of our, input and so forth to create change in this world. So I think, as thank God Annika has the shirt on, woohoo, that we need to say, why is it so important to choose women, right? And as we know, women have been underfunded, they have been underrepresented, and this is what this whole movement's about, is creating change from the ground up so everyone can participate. And so I think, right now, like you see, there's a lot of women funds that are launching right now. We've got so many companies and banks coming back down to say, hey, listen, we're going to dedicate billions of dollars to support women founders, right? This is now happening. And we see if we're ever going to create gender equality, we have to work together. We, women entrepreneurs, we have to work together to make this happen.
Indeed. And my dear friend Noha Hefni was saying, invest in women, support women, help them to plan, mentor them, buy their products. Don't forget the women that are dealing with disadvantage. Let us use our creativity to leave our impact in the life of women. And one of my teachers said, because another part of my work is that I work in recovery from addiction, and he said, we need to support women in all areas of life. When a man is trapped in addiction, we say the man is an addict. When a woman is trapped in addiction, the pillar of the home is shaky. There is an earthquake of that home. Therefore, we really, really need to support women in all areas of life. And let's keep focusing in the mental health and in all these micro loans all over the world. So we are coming to to the end of our gathering today. And I am so happy to be together and that we could open that space to be together. And I know our sisterhood gonna get long and wide and high, and we're gonna be doing many, many things together. So Annika, would you like to give us your sentence of goodbye and what you gathered from these event, and your message for people all around the world.
Yes.
She looks
Thank
like
you.
she looks like Lois Clark, like, you know, from Wonder Woman.
Oh, I like it. I like this. Thank you.
Take those glasses off. Get careful.
Look at this. There's no glass in them.
Oh, that's so funny.
I'm just trying to create the look here, okay? And Lolo, I secretly kind of like took some of my lip thing and I was like tried to put it on because I have no lips, so I have to pull the attention up here. Viola, I'm going to answer your question. I thought I have to say it because Lolo said something that I think every woman needs to hear. She said, be a leader without the title, meaning women don't think that they are leaders. It's the men who are leaders. I'm saying what you're not allowed to say, but it's like that. And every single one of us are leaders in our own life. So own that. Be the leader you are. I wanted to say that. And also, Lolo, you said uniformity, cohesion, collectivity, and I'm going to add solidarity and togetherness, like Wendy just said. So strong words. And instead of leaving a message, because I already feel I gave the values and the make time for it and be confident, go believe in yourself. I want to end by doing a massive shout out for all the ambassadors of Women's Entrepreneurship Day organization in Europe. I've spent the last 2 weeks having one-on-ones with so many of them. I made a little note here. I've spoken to Denmark, Armenia, North Macedonia, Moldova, Poland, Belgium, Hungary, Ukraine, Ireland, Czech Republic, Sweden, Cyprus. My God, Viola. I laughed the rest of that day because you are hilarious. But these women are, I didn't know. I knew them from LinkedIn, but having connected with them every single time, I was blown away. These are amazing women who do incredible things, so incredible that I'm in awe. I have deep admiration, and I have so much hope and trust in what we're going to create together this year. So get the t-shirt.
Yes, send me mine. Send me mine.
I bought mine on the website. Wendy, tell her where she can get it.
So if you go to choosewomen.org, you will see all the information. You can get anything you want there.
Women.org, yes. And then I get the thing and I do it like I put my fancy hand on it. Lolo. So you know how, I mean, when I hear you, when I see you, as soon as you appear in the screen, I was like struck by beauty, and I knew that it was not a outside beauty. I knew already because I've been with another event how much beauty and leadership there is inside. So give us another of your jewel to close this event.
Thank you so much. Maya Angelou says, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And I really want to just say thank you, you know. Getting very emotional.
She's so cute.
I think the way Annika just spoke about her team, I've been blessed with a remarkable arsenal of women who are torch bearers in their communities. We have in Zimbabwe, we had an ambassador who was working with wildlife, women who are working in wildlife in the rural area, in more rural areas, in very dangerous spaces. You know, women are working with refugee communities. Women are making a difference in key sectors, and they're not doing it for recognition. They're not doing it for applause, but they're doing it for a cause they believe in. So in closing, there's a word that resonates so strongly with me, and it's a Setswana word, Botswana national language, and it's ungwa. And ungwa means be fruitful, grow, multiply. It's spelled UNGWA. And in essence, that is our mandate in existence, to be fruitful, to grow, and to multiply in our individual capacity, in our institutional capacity. And when we approach everything with that with that level of curiosity and inner abundance, that generosity shows in what you do. That excellence shows in your end product. And currently, as just across the continent, I touched base with some of the regional ambassadors in the other. We are split into 4 regions, and we are open for applications for different ambassadorial roles in the continent as well as in the Africa diaspora. We have an ambassador who's based in the UK, and the main aim is to ensure that we are being as inclusive and diverse as possible as we march forward, to ensure that there's nobody who's left behind. So please go to the website, find out more about WEDO, and if you believe this resonates with you, do participate, do join us. We'd be honored to have you journey with us and make a difference in addressing poverty globally from the continent.
Well, my African family is growing now. I already had some sisters. Now I have one more, and I didn't go to Africa yet because Dr. Pauline Long said they're gonna keep you there. We're gonna take you there, and they're gonna keep you there. So I'm so fascinated by all what you're doing, Lolo, and congratulations, and count on me with whatever I can help. And Anika, it was a joy for me too to have this quick talk, and of course count on me for Europe with me, and we'll go high and wide and deep. So Wendy, this is you. Then please give us your Ungoa.
Oh, the pressure's on. The pressure's on. I mean, honestly, as you can imagine, I am like beyond grateful to everybody for being a part of this, to believing in this little dream that happened in the murder capital of the world, one of the poorest countries in the world, Honduras, right? And there's this one woman who literally inspired this whole movement, who is 72 years old. Maybe she's like, what is she, 80 now? Right? And, that to me is like really what this is about. If we could take out fame, money, and power, we can do anything. And that's what our movement's really about, is about giving back, because the more you give in life, the more you get. As you see, everyone laughs at me. They're like, always, why are you so happy? And I'm like, because every day I fight for the underdog, whether it's, impoverished women, whether it's homeless animals. It's like, for me, there's nothing better than to give back. And if we could just make a little difference, you could help one person in every conversation, in every meeting you have. Leave it with something positive, and leave it with, because when you walk out, you're going to say, you know what? At the end of the day, I helped someone. And I think that's the key to the game, because some of us have big minds and big ideas that we can go ahead and do things. But you know what? Everyone in the world can make a difference. And what is so great about this movement is to be able to be on this phone call with Luxembourg, Lola, with Africa, and with Cyprus, and everybody. And it just is an honor to be a part of this, and so grateful for you guys to believing in the dream. And I want to say that we're going to make huge impact this year. We just brought on a product manager for Choose Women yesterday, who's this incredible woman in Houston. And we are just super excited about what's going to happen. And I'm just honored to be here and excited to make magic happen. Woohoo!
Yes, and thank you so much, Janice Ruffle. Because of you, dearest ambassador of Cyprus, Janice have done so much work for WED in Cyprus, and now co-leading that work is my honor and my pleasure. And thank you so much for all your trust on me. And I know you are there guiding us and listening to me and to all of us. So it's our pleasure to have also Lolo to get emotional. We have the right to get emotional, and at least this is something that they left us through our childhood. We can cry, and our eyes can be wet. And I always say to women, don't hide them, just keep going, just keep going. And also, if you can help somebody every day. I used to have an exercise in the 90s, and I used to say, if you would give 1 hour in a year, and all the student or colleague will tell me 1 hour is so little. I said, well, imagine if all the population will give only 1 hour in a year, how much we will have, how much improvement, how much love, how much care we will have. So with this event, with this word, I want to close our event today and say, let's keep choosing women who honor men. And I want to do another event. I know Paolo is behind the scene, and my next event is men who are supporting women in their journey. And Paolo, you're there because I know how much you support me. And I have a man from different area of the world. And then maybe I'll invite some of you. And those are men, when I hear them, they have so much clarity. When I heard the other day a man saying, hey, we're not talking here about equality, man. We're talking about equity. You need to give much more so the equality happen. Is not giving the same now after so many years. That was not the same. And he was saying it in so much clarity and strength. I get the idea. I'm doing these men who supporting women in their journey. And you know, all of us that we work for women is because we think of the man, because you come from us too, and because we want to have balance in the family, balance in the community, balance in the society, balance everywhere. Because when we have equity, then men really, really, really will shine. Maybe some of you don't know it yet, but wait and see. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for all this space. And I will be seeing you soon. And hopefully we will have many more WEDO event around the world, different languages, and you will be hearing from us very soon. Viola Edward here with lots of love for all of you, and see you very soon. Thank you, Annika,
Bye-bye.
Lolo, Wendy,
Bye.
and Caroline, and of course Delia that had some technical problem. Bye-bye, and we will be meeting very soon. Thank you so much.